Hi guys, welcome to Blogspot's weekly podcast. Hope you guys are doing well and thank you for joining us today. So we have a bunch of important topics lined up for you guys. Something that's really exciting that's happening in the blockchain space. Especially, it's really good for consumers like us and people who use the internet in general. So let's just dive straight into the agenda. So the first thing we'll be covering is a new platform called Veracity that plans to take on YouTube using their solutions and all of the protocols that they've implemented, and we'll get into a deep dive into what these guys do. Then we'll be talking about Bitcoin's growth in developing versus developed markets. So we're going to look at where the trading volumes are higher and what kind of behavior is going on, and you might hear something shocking out of that segment. And finally, we're going to talk about Ambrosus. So that's a supply chain management platform that's making a lot of headwaves in Asia. So we're going to go dive into that as well and see how exactly their technology works. So without further ado, let's get started. So we'll talk about Veracity first. Now, it's a simple video platform. So users can go ahead and watch videos on their platform uploaded by content creators. So what's really different about these guys is that they're using blockchain technology to start getting the users rewarded for just watching videos. So every single time you go ahead and watch a video, you get something in return, and they use their own native token. So we'll cover that a bit later, but that's pretty much how this works. And the users can also go ahead and choose whether they want to watch an advertisement right before the video or not. And if they do choose to watch an advertisement, they get some money as well. So I'm pretty sure this is a sort of revenue sharing system with the users that is revolutionary, that no one has done before. No content creator or content platform, I'd rather say, has done this before. And for the creators, if you want to watch one of their videos, so they have three ways of basically providing that video or the access of that video to you. So the first thing they can do is that they can ask for donations, and this is what Patreon has been doing for a very long time, where normal content creators on YouTube say that, hey, go onto our Patreon page and donate and you'll get early access and exclusive content. So that's something that these guys have capitalized on. They can also charge you on a pay-per-view basis, so you watch just one video and you pay for it based on whatever the pricing is, or they can charge you a monthly recurring fee or a subscription. So this pretty much equates to the fact that as a user, if you want to join this platform, you're going to have to start putting in a little bit of money before you can start watching videos, but the end result would be that you can start earning money this way just for watching videos. And it's really good for content creators as well, because I'm pretty sure that the way the wealth is shared between YouTube and between Veracity is very different. Now, they haven't really told us the specifics of what the commission basis is, but just to put it into perspective, YouTube, Facebook charge around 30%, Patreon charges around 5%. So I'm guessing that if these guys are genuine, that they'll be charging somewhere between 5 to 10% and not as high as YouTube's fee. And keeping a low fee for content creators at this point of their platform is absolutely necessary, because without content creators, they're nothing. So this is something that's great because it is completely decentralizing the big video industry that's just been, shadowed over by these behemoths, that's YouTube and Facebook, YouTube more so. And we can't think of any other platform for consuming content today, or as a creator, I can't think of any other platform to reach an audience of that size than YouTube. So we don't really have too much of options here. But I guess that the video industry itself does need new incentives, and due to intrusive ads and the lower viewer engagement, low video publishing revenue, and viewers giving away their privacy for a very small to no or insignificant returns, there is very little value exchanged between these guys in the current platform. So there are a lot of problems that's going on with the industry today, and this is what Veracity is trying to solve. Another problem is that content creators and publishers are struggling to monetize this data. So you have people on YouTube they're having taken their videos down, they're getting demonetized for various reasons, and they pretty much don't have a voice or a say in this matter, because it's YouTube who decides that. And if you are guilty in their eyes, you are guilty in real life. So that's pretty much how the scenario works. And much of the value that's been exchanged isn't really visible to us users, because most of it just gets piled up into personal consumer data and then gets sold to companies who then basically target advertisements towards you. We don't really get a benefit out of that. And very recently, even creators have stopped receiving benefits. At least a huge majority of them have stopped. So Veracity could be the solution to this. And how exactly they do this is that they have a four-part system on their platform. So it's a website basically. They obviously have a video player that's built on HTML5. It can play full HD videos and all of those quirks and features that normal video players have. So that's nothing special, but it is crucial for their functionality. They also do the hosting and distribution, so of course they're going to have to host their own content, and they would like to do so because this is something that's private and they are promising privacy, so this is something that is a given. They also have something called a payment system which they call Vera Pay, which I think that they pretty much gave up while naming it, but anyway, let's stick with it. So it's Vera Pay, and you get paid for referrals, you get paid for loyalty, and they have their own native currency. So that's pretty much how the system works, and we'll get into that in a bit. And what's really good and what's really authentic or unique about this company is that they're using a new validation system called proof of view, or POV. So that is something that is similar to like proof of work, but they pretty much use this to show that, okay, yeah, this is a legitimate user who's watching this video, and therefore we can confirm that it's not a bot or not a malicious actor who's doing it. So that's a way to secure the system and obviously this is secured over the blockchain, so all of this is immutable as well. So that's something that's really great and something unique that no one else is doing before. So just let's dive into what parts of their platform is actually based on blockchain technology. So they have their own native token called VRA token. So it has built-in economic mechanisms to provide efficient recognition of value contributed to the economy, incentives to contributors directly, and all of the payments within Veracity don't really need to go through a payment gateway or a third-party provider. So it's all seamless, and there's very little fees involved in transacting between users and creators as well. And what's really important here is proof of view. So proof of view is something that they're going hard after. They're trying to patent it, and it's very similar to interplanetary file systems proof of replication. So proof of replication just shows that if you guys don't know about it, then you should check out Filecoin. That's their native currency, and it's a beautiful subject that we'll cover sometime very soon. Once they have a breakthrough or a groundbreaking news that comes out, then we'll definitely put them on this show. So they pretty much use proof of replication to show that the data has been copied. So this is something that could be working the same mechanism. They've just branded it differently, so it's nothing new. But at the same time, applying it into their business or their platform makes a hell of a lot of sense. So I think that as a content creator, I'm definitely going to try this out because this is something that's new, it's relevant, and I think that this could really disrupt the market. So this is something that you guys should check out. I'll put the link of Veracity down in the description, and if you want to check out the website, it's just called veracity.io. So let's move on to our next topic, which is Bitcoin's growth in emerging versus developed market. So this is something that's it's a study that we're going to cover. It might be a little boring, but at the same time, let's just go ahead because I want to get to the interesting part of this and what exactly are the implications for this, the results of the study. So developing markets are pretty much the emerging markets who are guys in mostly like Asia, like Philippines, Thailand, India, Russia. So these are the guys who are pretty much in the emerging or developing phase versus the developed phase, which is most of Europe and most of the North Americas. So a study that was recently conducted by Passport Capital has said that the interest in trading in local bitcoins is developed in nations that seem to follow the price, while the volume figures from emerging markets has grown in the recent years. So what this basically means in their article is that they're looking at the volume data from these countries, and they've segregated them into two countries, and what they're saying is that irrespective of where the price of Bitcoin stands, the volume is growing year on year in emerging markets. So what this means is that we are not looking at as the Bitcoin as a speculative asset where investors look to get rich, but we're looking at actual users and participants of the network who are using this particular technology for its benefits. So they're actually using it for trades and stuff like that. So this pretty much suggests that buyers in the richer parts are just using it for an investment purpose, but those living in the emerging nations are actually using it. And this is very important because everyone knows about what's happening in Venezuela, and now it's become one of the largest hubs for crypto activity, especially for Bitcoin. So that is a perfect use case for us, and we've never had a solution like this that is a decentralized peer-to-peer system, but we've had hyperinflation before, and we've never seen this kind of a shift to virtual currency. So the difference between Venezuela and all of the other countries that suffered hyperinflation in the in the past is that they now have a decentralized peer-to-peer system that they don't have to rely on their governments or their banks for to make sure that the value is intrinsic and secure. And what's really, really shocking about this article is that it first happened back in 2017. So the volume growth has actually overtaken the developed markets back in 2017, and it's been showing a consistent rate of growing and outpacing the developed markets. So that means that all of the developed nations, all of the economies that are poised to be the next superpowers, have shown tremendous acceptance and adoption of Bitcoin as opposed to the developed nations. So this could be for a myriad of reasons. The first one could be that the payment systems are just much better there, and the customer service for the payment systems over there are much more appealing to customers than emerging markets. But at the same time, it could also be argued that people in the emerging markets understand the importance of having or being able to control their own assets. So that is something that comes into play because you can't really continuously trust someone else to take care of you. You have to do it yourself. So that's a beautiful, beautiful article, and I'll link it down in the description again. And I suggest that you really have a look. It's a 7 to 8 minute read max, and that's my speed. But I'm pretty sure it won't go above 10 minutes. But this is very, very interesting, and they have some good data there that you can have a look at as well to back this up. So let's move on to our last topic here, and that's going to be Ambrosus. So Ambrosus is basically targeting the food and pharmaceutical supply chains. So they plan to combine high-tech sensors, smart contracts, and plug them into blockchain protocols to create a secure supply chain where everyone in the network, suppliers, consumers, even stakeholders, can go ahead and start tracking their products remotely and ensure the authenticity and origin of all of these products and all of these operations that go on. And this can also bring in layers of compliance as they've written on their website. So its benefits, as listed on the website, are that they do supply chain optimization, so they make sure that the supply chain is secure, it's reliable, and you have real-time sensors and IoT devices that's giving you real-time data. So you don't really have to trust someone to say that, okay, yeah, listen, Richard or Daniel, go ahead and check if my goods have come in the warehouse. You don't have to do that. You have a machine sitting there that cannot lie. Then you can also do quality assurance, because once you have all of the data on the blockchain that is immutable, you give a direct access to your consumers, and they would prefer that rather than going through a middleman or having to trust a third-party entity. And this also brings in the feature of logistical tracking, which is pretty much similar to their quality assurance, but at the same time, this is what they've listed down. And what's most important is anti-counterfeiting. So that's something that even Amazon and eBay have struggled with. And with this system, with the blockchain protocol involved into the solution, they can finally ensure that there is no counterfeiting that goes on, and they can go ahead and protect the IP of all of the goods that are being traded. So China, watch out if this thing gets big. So let's just dive a little bit more into Ambrosus's underlying technology that's built on the blockchain. So they have their own native token called Amber, and it's built on the ERC20 protocol. And a little bit about their ICO is they ran it in September 2017 for about a month till October, and they raised roughly about 32 million. So this is a big field, and they've got a lot of backing. They're also part of Crypto Valley, so that's really good. That means that someone has vetted the technology. And they sold for about 30 cents, and maybe made available only 40 to 45% of the total available tokens. Their highest point was about $1.85 sometime in January 2018, but it's seen a steady decline, and now it's at 0.05 cents. So this is something that as an investor we would definitely like to back in a small way, because at the end of the day you need to put some of your funds into supply chain, because supply chain is going to be such a huge industry, and there are a lot of players like Skynet. But we are seeing real life cases come out of Ambrosus, especially in the emerging markets. So this really plays into our last article or the last segment of our podcast to say that, hey, look, emerging markets is the place, and the people who are working with companies in the emerging markets are the ones to back after. So this is something that you guys should keep an eye on, and we've seen that it's touched $1.85. So if you see rising jumps, then you can go ahead as a day trader, but we would more prefer this to be something like a long-term investment, because for sure, if it does not reach $1.85, we are absolutely certain that with the current contracts it has, and if it can fulfill its current deals, then we have no doubt in our mind that it's going to go back to close to 30 cents. So that's a really good return, maybe in 2 years or 3 years. So that's pretty much it, and we'd love to get your feedback on what you like, what you didn't like, and we'd love to know what are the other topics that you'd like to know about as well. And we hope that this was informative, and it sparks ideas in your heads, and we try to give our consultancy when and where possible, as much as possible. And that's great. So next time I hope that I'll see you guys on Veracity. So take care, and thank you for tuning in. Bye bye, guys.